good afternoon on what is just a really, really awful day. I was kind of thinking about, we've had the Gabby Gifford shootings and the assassination of the Minnesota legislators, and then you have all the stuff that's come from the other direction more recently, going back to the congressional baseball practice and Brian Thompson, two shots at Trump, and now Charlie today. And I guess, what I was struck by a little bit is just, the history of socialism and Marxism is about not really about debate or understanding of opposing viewpoints, but about eliminating those viewpoints. And I guess what happened to Charlie today feels a bit like a tipping point to me because he spoke freely, he encouraged debate on the college campuses and mobilized college youth and young adults in a way that just hasn't happened for a long time. And now he's dead as a result. And, can we go back from this? Because this one, more than any of the other assassination attempts or assassinations, really does feel like potentially a breaking point if a lot of the youth out there really does take their anger about what's happened here and goes in the wrong direction with it.
Yeah, it's a really very well said, Matt. Thank you. I'm gonna bring in our guests because I'm not as well equipped to answer these questions under my current state as I'd like to be. So Matt Gorman's here. Matt, grateful to you for making time. I know you're in the midst of it. So if you could respond to what your fellow Matt said, and then also share either before or after that, just share your overall thoughts about what's happened to Charlie.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible day. At least at the moment, I guess I'm not kind of in the place to kind of go down the back and forth rabbit hole. Um, but you know, the thing about I'll speak kind of a little bit more on Charlie. He was somebody who I think has a couple different legacies. Obviously, he was somebody who has an influential voice, and I think that term's going to get overused in some respects about people, but he truly was an influential voice in the party, and just I would say since 2016. I mean, social media, podcasts, like his reach was extremely broad, especially among young voters, as we all know. And he really believed in, I think, in a lot of the same things that we all believe in here as part of the two-way community, right? Free exchange of ideas, dialogue, civil debate, not screaming people down, not, demeaning people because they might disagree with you. And I think one of the other more tactical things of the legacy is, it really can't be overstated his effect on the Trump victory last year. Obviously, victory has a thousand fathers, but really, with the new law that came into effect from the last couple of years that allowed outside groups to coordinate with campaigns, he turning point is, got the vote efforts, especially in Arizona, especially in Wisconsin, were massive. And the man was 31 years old. And I'll say one other thing too. I think in an era where, you know, having a family and having kids and relishing a family life isn't as much of a priority as it could be. He was an outspoken advocate, especially among young people, for that life and the rewards of that life. And I think those are the three things that really come to mind right now. And I think of Charlie Kirk and what he stood for.
Yeah, Matt, pick up on two things and then bring Haima in. I talked to him yesterday about home ownership and how young men were more interested in starting families now because they were eager to have all that represented. And he was so focused on it, and because he's such a brain, the interdisciplinary understanding of the economics of it, the sociology, the psychology, the politics. Matt, because this is your field. I really don't think Trump would necessarily won without Charlie's ground game in those states. And I was a skeptic because turnout and voter reg are not for amateurs. And his
No.
organization had never done it. So talk about how skeptical political pros were when Charlie said, I'm going to raise millions of dollars and I'm going to do voter turnout and voter registration.
He spent over $100 million. And I will tell you that campaigns are littered with people who make a lot of BS promises about voter turnout and this app that can revolutionize, or this trick that they fail miserably, right? Charlie succeeded immeasurably. Um, and you're exactly right. It was something that took a lot of work. And I tell you right now, too, he with a demographic that extremely hard. He wasn't doing it with, you know, old boomers that were going to show up at the polls regardless. He did it with college kids. He galvanized college kids on campus. Look, being a conservative is cool in a way it hasn't been, I would say, since Bush won his reelection in 2004. And, you know, college, and that, I mean, what I mean on college campuses, and a lot of that has to do with Charlie Kirk in a way. And I think you're also right on home ownership. Um, that's an issue that's going to bubble up in the midterms, and he understood it, and he understood kind of what it meant as a person to own a home. And traditional sounds negative, but it's he understood that I think men value the importance of having a family, and there was an audience there that he could speak to in that regard.
Our sponsor again tonight, our good friends at Cozy Earth, and what's great about them is great stuff. You've heard me talk about before. The bedding's great, the shirts are great, but you also hear me talk quite a bit about the pants. And we got a letter this morning I read on the morning meeting from a guy, a famous viewer of the morning meeting, who said he can't get enough of the pants and he doesn't like buying clothes, hates clothes, he said. I don't know if he's a nudist, but he said he hates clothes. But he says his wife says he looks great in the pants. Here's the thing about these pants and why I recommend you buy them. You got your drawer with all your pants, maybe a shelf, maybe a drawer, wherever you keep your pants. These pants, you go over like Jerry Seinfeld, his favorite t-shirt. All I do, I got about 6 pairs of pants that fit me. I just take these every time. These are the kind of pants you take them every time. So if you need a good pair of pants, you need your like go-to pants, a man, woman, a child, go to cozyearth.com, buy them 40% off. Use the code two-way for 40% off at cozyearth.com. Built for real life, made to keep up with yours. Cozy Earth, telling you, buy the pants. That was a delicious video experience. I think you'll agree. Now, what you need to do in return for getting to enjoy that is hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a thing.